Welcome to the Beautiful View podcast, where we encourage you to look for opportunities in your life to see a beautiful view. I'm Candy.
And I'm Paul. Today, we are going to talk about something that came up in a recent conversation that we had. This episode is called Encouraging Uniqueness in Your Marriage.
Yes, encouraging uniqueness in marriage involves embracing individual identities while fostering a strong and unified partnership. It's about celebrating differences, respecting each other's space, and encouraging personal growth, ultimately enriching the relationship. I think it will be a great conversation.
So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere, as long as you're going to. Well, I'd go anywhere, as long as I'm with you.
Before we jump into today's episode, let's see, what have we been up to?
A little bit of everything.
Oh, it has been a very busy season for us. Our son Tyler wrapped up his sophomore year.
Yes, he did.
He got his CPR and lifeguard certification. So he's spending the summer at the pool this summer, which sounds like the perfect job for a teenager.
And he is enjoying it so much.
Oh, he is. He's loving it.
And myself and some friends of ours got together, and our good friends, they have a porch, an outside porch, and the winters here in Iowa have gradually eaten away at it.
Yeah.
To the point where the steps had rotted and all that kind of stuff. So we all gathered together and we had a good old-fashioned porch raising. And so we
Yes, you did.
We built a porch. We had a lot of fun doing that together. And Emily just took back her friend who came from Texas. She took her back to the airport this morning.
Yeah, they have been best friends since the second grade.
Yes, they have.
They have a long-standing friendship, and it was just so fun to kind of watch them together. And
showed them around Iowa and all of our favorite spots.
Yeah, yesterday we got to go to Dubuque, and we did the Finland Street elevator, and went to eat, went to the farmer's market. We did all the things, all the touristy things. So
yes, took her to Dubuque, down our favorite highway in the whole country.
Yeah,
Highway 52.
Yeah,
just has some beautiful views along it. So we
yeah,
had a great time.
It's been a busy, fast, furious, but a lot of fun this last week.
Yes, and what have you been up to?
Well, I have taken on a little more responsibility at the brewery,
yes, she has.
That has kept me busy. We've had a little bit of a restructure, but I have the absolute best staff, and I am just loving it. So it's going to be a super fun summer, and oh gosh, you've been helping me out a lot too, which I really appreciate. We make a really great team at that stuff.
Yes, we do. I really enjoy being able to do the bar back stuff, washing dishes and bussing tables. But sometimes I get a little over enthusiastic. I know there was one time where I get the text message, help. And so I head down there and I'm all like, so glasses need to be picked up. So I'm grabbing glasses from everybody, even if they haven't finished with them. I'm grabbing the glasses.
Wait, hold on.
It's just over enthusiasm. That's all it is. But I'm learning. But it's been a lot of fun to help you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. We also recently had several filming jobs, which I tagged along to help with. I kind of bring the organization and both an extra set of eyes and hands to these jobs. And I just love that we each have our things that we excel at, yet we are able to support and help each other when needed.
Yeah, I tend to get super focused on all the technical aspects. So I get this tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, how does it look? Like, where do we need to place everybody? And I'm like, oh, good point.
Your light is in the camera shot. Are you realizing that?
Oh, no, I hadn't realized that. So, together we do very well. And, so it's been a lot of fun doing those filming projects. Now I have lots of video to edit.
Lots. And all of that leads us to the conversation that we're going to have today.
Yes.
So let's jump in. When we were young and in love, well, we still are, at least the in love part. Maybe not the young part.
Maybe not the young part.
But back then, we used to look at each other through like rose-tinted glasses and talk about how much we had in common.
Yes, we did.
As I look back, though, we did have some things in common, like the important stuff, I think. Right. Many of the things were probably because one or the other of us had kind of compromised. And, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with compromising to find things that you both enjoy. Don't get me wrong. But it's also okay to have some things that you don't have in common. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I do know that there are things that I enjoy that you have no interest in whatsoever.
Yeah, there's that.
And as we've gotten older, you're not so concerned with letting me know about that.
Yeah.
So when I start talking about like a science-based podcast that I'm really jazzed about, or maybe something to do with like a motorsports event, I tend to lose you in the first 2 to 3 minutes. Well, maybe like the first 20 to 30 seconds. So, and I think it would certainly be wrong for you to insist that I only listen to or only watch the things that we're both interested in.
Yeah.
But we have managed to find a couple of TV shows here and there that we like to watch together when we have, on now the rare occasions we get to sit together on the couch and have an evening together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, marriage is a beautiful union of two people who choose to share their lives, their dreams, their aspirations. While it's a journey filled with love and companionship, it's also a path paved with unique qualities, experiences, and perspective that each partner brings to the relationship.
Yes.
No two people are identical. Can you imagine if we were all exactly the same? Oh my word. Understanding and celebrating the uniqueness of your spouse can be the cornerstone of a happy and lasting marriage. Now, after all of these 23 plus years of our marriage, would you say that we're more alike or more different?
Well, I think we've grown to appreciate each other for who we are.
Sure.
And we have made some compromises along the way.
Of course.
So I guess that would mean we've grown together as well. So maybe not more alike. Maybe we've just both grown up.
Yeah, I think that's probably a true statement.
I think there are areas where we're very much alike.
Sure.
So much so that we can tend to frustrate each other. For instance, we both like to explain every aspect of something we're about to do or an experience that we just had, but neither one of us wants to listen to that long breakdown of all the details. So I can ask you a simple, okay, so here's what we need to do. Do you want to do A or B? And I'm fully expecting you to say, yeah, let's just do B. And remember, I said we both do this. So I'm talking to myself as well. You will break down all the details of everything we need to do to accomplish A and B, and then you think of options C, D, and E.
I like to have options.
And then sometimes both of us, we get so far down the road that we forget that we're supposed to make a choice about the thing.
Yeah, there's that. I can think of a specific instance just recently where I was going into detail about something and you said your favorite thing to say, well, let's not get in the weeds. But then you jump right into the weeds. Like you do the exact same thing. I come
back in and I'm like, well, no, what you meant to say was, and then I go through all the things again that I just stopped you from saying.
Oh my word.
We're a mess.
Okay, we are a mess. But I would say too that there are a lot of differences that we have found in our personalities.
Yes.
So you tend to be more kind of little introverted. I tend to be
extroverted.
I'm an extroverted introvert. Like, I mean, I can go and do all the extroverted stuff for a while and then I crash.
Right.
I've got to have some like
Yes.
Time to
recoup, refresh.
Yes.
Recharge.
Recharge, definitely.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, you definitely, I think I push you in that area a little bit. So, which I don't know. I think that's a healthy thing.
No, it's healthy. I need to get out once in a while.
To keep you from becoming a hermit.
I know, right? An area where we are very different is like when we go on a hike. You know, we come across one of those signs that explains what you're looking at and the history and all the things. And you have to stop and you have to read out loud every single word on that sign. And so like me and the kids will look at each other like, okay, here she goes. And I'm like, you know, I'll just wait for the movie or maybe I'll look up an hour and a half documentary on YouTube later and like bedtime listening.
I'm just taking it all in. That's just how my brain processes things. But yes, there are quite a few ways where we differ in personality and kind of habits and that kind of stuff. So
yes, and we've talked about this recently, but you always like to know all the rules.
I do. I'd like to know the rules.
And I just want to go and have fun and wait until someone blows a whistle like Tyler down lifeguarding and tell me like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that.
That's a real stop sign, you know.
Oh, yeah, that was
He actually had that little comment from a park ranger one time.
A Texas park ranger.
Yeah.
Who grabbed my arm like this and said, hey, that's a real stop sign, you know.
So we obviously have our differences, but we also have our individual giftings.
Yes. And if I were to describe your giftings, I would say that you have the gift of encouragement.
Okay.
And I also would say that you're a very strong leader. You have the ability to make everyone around you feel valued, and you're able to amplify their best qualities and their best efforts.
Aw.
But that's also backed up with a very clear set of expectations. And I think it's true to say that anyone who spends time with you knows exactly what to expect and that it would be a very good idea to follow those expectations.
That might be true too. And if I were to describe your giftings, I would say that you have the gift of servanthood.
Okay.
You love to serve people and you do it without an agenda, just simply because you want to help. You are very gifted at many things, actually. You like to say that you are a jack of all trades, master of none. I've heard you say that a million times, but I disagree with that. There are quite a few things that I would actually consider you a master at.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like we are mostly alike on the important things in life.
Yes.
Would you say that?
I think so.
Yeah, but we are very different in a lot of ways. Some of the differences, though, not only complement each other, but allow each of us to lead in our own lane.
Yes. And today we're going to break this down into 5 steps to encourage uniqueness in your marriage.
Yeah, so let's start with step 1.
Yes.
Step 1 is embracing each other's differences. Everyone has unique strengths, weaknesses, interests, and perspectives. This is true even in a marriage.
Yes, it is.
Oftentimes, we have complementing differences, though. What would be an example of this in our relationship?
Well, every example I can think of is a difference in an area where I am weak and you compliment me by helping me with that.
Oh, that's not true.
I tend to be a little disorganized. Now, it's not intentional. In fact, I sometimes go to extraordinary lengths to try and stay on track. Like I have multiple to-do lists, multiple calendars, reminders set up, but I do have a few blind spots. One of those is that I absolutely cannot visualize a calendar.
Yeah, that's a recent revelation to me, too. I don't guess I ever really kind of...
It only sort of surfaced because we had like that period of time in Texas where I had like crammed so many things into it. And I fully thought that we had time to do everything, and we did not.
Yeah.
We didn't have the time. So I find it hard to sort of visualize how a period of time is going to work out, like how things are going to slot into that space of time. And so I'll end up double booking something or overbooking our time, which is what happened recently, or I just completely forget something altogether. Now, you are super organized. Like you like everything in neat lines, and you don't find scheduling difficult at all.
I think of every little detail
Yes,
in
you
that
do.
stuff. So
Thankfully, she does. So are there any areas where I compliment you?
of course, you are very good with anything to do with computers, networking, like knowing the inner workings of like how everything
stuff.
works together. I mean, there's no way I mean, that's over my pay grade. So you're very good at fixing things, tearing things up.
Oh, I can tear things up.
Fixing them again.
I used to train the kids when they were little to say, "Daddy can fix anything."
Yeah. And because he pretty much can. There is not much that you can't fix, which is really cool. And I make a great assistant
You do.
to those things.
Yeah.
But you are definitely the leader in big projects like that. That is definitely where you excel.
I would say I'm not afraid to try and fix anything.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
like if something's really complex and I really shouldn't have any business trying to fix that thing, I'm just not afraid to go in and just start tearing things up.
Apart. Which can be a little nerve-wracking at
It's
times.
a little daunting, isn't it?
I've learned over the years of watching you tear things apart just to let you do it.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Sometimes it's painful to watch. I can't watch it, but
like ripping off the back of our RV. Yeah.
yeah, those kinds of things. But okay. Anyway, instead of trying to make your partner conform to your expectations for them, what if we were able to celebrate each other's unique qualities and quirks?
Yep, quirks. We did a whole episode about that called Living with Quirky People. That's season 1, episode 4.
We have a few of those in our house.
Yes, we have a few quirky people under this roof.
So step 2 is nurture individuality and independence. So in other words, respect each other's personal space. Allow your partner time for self-care, for hobbies, and individual growth. Encourage each other's interests and goals, even if they differ from your own.
Yes, and like I said before, there are things that I like to do that soothe my soul that you don't necessarily have an interest in. I like tinkering with stuff in the shop.
Yeah.
And I talked to you about this recently. I'd really like to finish out that shop, like put some insulation in, put some sheetrock up, and make that kind of a space where I can tinker as much as I want to all through the winter.
Yeah.
You know, like keep it warm in there. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think so too. And I have things that I like to do. I like to read. I like to do artsy things. I like to, and you don't necessarily care anything about that, but
I mean, I appreciate
but you
the
usually,
results.
you know, if I say I'm going to go read on the front porch, you give me space to do that. So
yeah.
I think one of the hardest things for me early in our marriage, I supported you so much in the things that you were involved in that I kind of forgot to nurture the things that
made
me that brought me my own sense of self. I found myself in like your assistant role a lot,
right,
which I wanted to because I loved you and I wanted to serve you, but in the process of all of that I got to a point where I was like, you know, so what reminds me of this is like, you know, when you get like a new planner at the beginning of the year, and in the front, sometimes they have, you know, goals for the year or whatever.
Right.
And I can remember a time where it was like, what are my goals?
Yeah.
What do I want to accomplish this year? Help Paul. You know, I mean, I honestly got to that point where I didn't even really have my own thing. And that was mostly my fault, I think, just because I just kind of lost that somewhere. And that's kind of a weird place to be.
Yeah, and I think that was because of circumstances.
Yeah, of course it was.
But of course, like when I first came over, I was kind of entering your world. And I just saw this young, confident young lady who, you know, I mean, you had it going on. Like you had the salon, you had your own clients, you were just super confident. There was like spark and energy.
Yeah.
And that was the girl I was attracted to. So yes, I think it's really important to maintain our individual identities. I would say that the person that you were after we moved to the Permian Basin to follow a step up in my career was very different than the person I was attracted to when we were first married.
Yeah.
I don't think that situation was particularly unique, though.
No, I don't think so either.
You know, we had kids, we had need for a higher income, and we went to follow that higher income.
Yeah.
I think that many spouses find themselves in that kind of a situation after marriage and kids come along.
Sure.
It's just a whole different set of responsibilities and definitely a completely different budget.
Yeah.
Now, was it right for the outcome to be that for you, you felt like you lost your individual identity? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, I think about spouses that are married to someone in the military, and we would see these couples all the time when we lived in San Angelo. They would come in so they could report for duty at Goodfellow Air Force Base. And there they were, like, you know, suddenly the spouse was reporting in, the other spouse was at home with the kids in a new place, a new city, trying to get used to a new routine. And oftentimes there were kids in tow.
Yeah.
I think that's where nurturing your own identity needs to become a priority. Sometime after we moved to Midland, you said, you know, I just need to go back to San Angelo at the weekends and do hair, you know, go back to the business that you knew and the people that you knew. You valued those relationships with your colleagues and your clients, and you certainly valued time with your family back there in San Angelo. So I supported you in that decision. As hard as it was to know that you wouldn't be at home at the weekends. Now, saying that, the weekends were also my busiest time, so I wasn't going to be home anyways.
Exactly. Yeah, there's that. I think it was when I gave up those trips to San Angelo to do hair that I kind of had to figure out who I was. Like, I felt like I had kind of lost a piece of myself, if that makes sense.
Of course, yeah.
When I quit doing hair. There were a lot of circumstances during that time of our lives that meant that we spent a lot of time apart.
Yes.
Some of those things out of our control, some things we probably could have done better. But
absolutely,
we now know that that wasn't very healthy for our marriage.
It wasn't, and it wasn't healthy for our family. In fact, that was one of the main things that led us to sell up everything that we had, move into the RV, and just go off and spend time together.
That leads us now to step 3.
Yes.
Prioritize quality time together. Schedule regular date nights or day dates. We have to make time for each other, even if it's just for a few hours in the evening or something. We have to schedule time together. That's where our you and me days are so important.
Yeah, and so far, May's You and Me Day has not happened.
Wah, wah.
But we've been good at making that time together in the past, and hopefully we'll get to a place where we can do that again.
We'll get back on track
in the future.
Yeah.
So find things that you can do together that you both enjoy, like whatever that might be. For us, we like to cook together, go on day trips, camp, go walking, hiking.
Yep. All of that. Yeah, and use these times of exclusive, intentional time together to communicate openly and honestly with each other. Share your thoughts, feelings, dream a little bit with each other. Make sure that you're on the same page.
Yes. We talk through how things are going to go for our individual pursuits, and we're both very driven people.
Oh, yes.
with no idea how to do things halfway. So that means that when we're pursuing our individual goals, we're all in. And that means that one of us is going to have to compromise in order for the other to succeed.
Sure.
But those compromises need to be measured and carefully monitored. For instance, we know that your new role has a period of time where it's not going to be easy.
Sure.
And it'll be very demanding as you go through this period of transition, as you go from one management structure to another. But we have both agreed that this is for a set period of time, and that the time to evaluate is not now.
Correct, yeah.
For this time, I'm going to do my best to keep the business going, keep house, and help you when you're short-staffed.
Yes, and I greatly appreciate that. And I also help you when we have a photo shoot coming up.
Yes, we do.
So, and I will make sure that I am there to help you be another set of eyes and things like that on there. So it works both ways. It takes both of us.
And we love working together.
We do. We work very well together. And that brings us to step 4.
Yes.
Grow together as individuals and as a couple.
Yes.
Pursue personal development and learn new things, but also find things that you can do together as a couple. Challenge yourselves to expand your horizons and create new experiences together.
But also be open to change. Mm-hmm. Recognize that we both will evolve and change over time. And I know that's true for us.
Of course.
But always be willing to adapt and adjust.
Yeah, I would say that we have both changed a lot since our early days of marriage.
Yes.
Life has a way of kind of doing that. Sometimes we face difficult times that change us, and sometimes the change is due to just growth.
Yes.
There's a constant intentional adapting and adjusting that has to happen alongside those changes for things to run smoothly.
Yes. And finally, step 5, last but not least, show appreciation and gratitude to your spouse. I know that means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. In season 1, episode 20, Love and Marriage, which was on our anniversary in 2024.
It was.
We talked about love languages. We talked about our Enneagram numbers and how that mapped out as far as our compatibility together.
Yep.
So if you want to go back and listen to that, that's really cool.
It's really interesting, yeah.
And there's also some links in the show notes for that episode so that you can do your own little tests and find out what number you are.
Yeah.
So in that, my top 2 love languages are physical touch and words of affirmation. Mm-hmm. Now, your top 2 love languages are acts of service and quality time. Mm-hmm. I want to know that you appreciate the things I do for you as I speak your love language of acts of service. Mm-hmm. There have been plenty of ways to serve you recently.
I know. I'm sorry. I've been a little high maintenance.
However, your second love language, quality time, has had to go on hold for a while.
Yeah.
And I know there's going to be some opportunities for us soon. So
of course,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. It's important that we don't get lost in the desire for our own love languages to be fulfilled and forget to speak our partner's love language.
Right.
It works both ways.
It does.
It is also very important for us to acknowledge each other's strengths and appreciate each other's unique talents and contributions to the relationship.
Yes.
We can let our partner know how much we care about them through our words and our actions. Mm-hmm. I know that you love me when you show up to help me clean up at the brewery at the end of a really long day, or you do the dishes at home for me when I haven't had time to do them. All of those things they make me feel loved.
Yes.
So thank you for those things.
Yes, it's a pleasure. It's also important to celebrate milestones and achievements for both our individual and shared successes.
The Bible speaks about the church and how each of us are gifted with different callings and talents. In the first part of Romans 12:6, it says, "In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well."
Yeah, if we all got to be hands, then there wouldn't be a shoulder to raise, lower, and extend that hand.
Exactly.
God designed us differently so that we can work together.
Yes.
I also love the way that marriage has been established by God to represent the relationship Jesus has with the church.
Yeah.
The church is the body of Christ made up of all believers in Him in all of time. He gave everything to be in relationship with us. And while we will never be able to be exactly like Him, as we grow in our relationship with Him, we adopt His ways and become more like Him.
Yes.
We become mirrors that reflect His light, and we become His hands and feet to the people we interact with each day. Mm-hmm. The person that I interact with every day is you, Candy. In small ways, I want you to be able to see our Messiah in our life. Mm-hmm. If that's by washing dishes with you at work, or vacuuming the carpets in the house, or bringing you a cup of coffee in the morning.
Which you do every morning.
I do, yes.
I know in our marriage, it seems like we take turns with the ups and downs.
Yes, we
do.
The
best part is that we are blessed with someone to walk alongside through life's ups and downs. Mm-hmm. When one person struggles, we can help them up, as the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 4, 9, and 10.
It works both ways. When one of us is down, we can ask the other for help.
Yes.
We can also serve and support one another, offering encouragement and companionship when needed.
Yeah. We want to challenge you today to look at your marriage through a little different lens. Acknowledge your differences and remember that those differences give your marriage more tools to work with.
Yes.
Don't look at it as a disadvantage. Look at it as an advantage. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the differences complement each other, but they can also challenge you to grow in life together.
Yes, when I think about all the ways that we are different, I am reminded that the two of us together provide strength where on my own I'm weak.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say the same thing. God created each of us with unique personalities, strengths, and weaknesses. We have different interests, backgrounds, and sometimes even goals in life. When we marry someone, we have to kind of figure all that out. We have to figure out how all those things fit together without losing ourselves in the process. I think these steps we've discussed today are great points for any married couple to talk through. It is so important to celebrate your individual uniqueness while also growing together as a couple and using your strengths to complement each other.
We would like to challenge you to consider how you can work together in your marriage to maximize these gifts and strengths, and how you can bless and encourage others by doing so.
And that is today's beautiful view.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. Our hope is always to inspire and encourage our listeners. So we hope this episode gave you a few things to think about. It has definitely challenged us because, believe me, we don't get it right all the time.
No, we don't. But we try really hard.
We do.
If you like what we do here at the Beautiful View podcast, you can show your appreciation by becoming a supporting member for only $5 a month. We'll send you a members-only Beautiful View podcast sticker and a weekly encouraging newsletter to your inbox. Your support helps us cover our production costs. The link to sign up is in our show notes.
Also, be sure to follow Beautiful View Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Those links are also in our show notes.
Yes. As we conclude each podcast, we always like to give the topic for the next episode. But this will be our final episode for Season 2 of the Beautiful View podcast.
When we started the Beautiful View podcast, we didn't have any plans regarding what it would look like to produce this podcast long term.
Yes.
We just knew we wanted to do it, so we we do with everything, we jumped in with both feet, all in. And we have continued to produce episodes fairly consistently ever since.
Yeah, and I think the only times that we missed was like those 1 or 2 episodes here or there where we took a brief period of time off. And then there was the end of last year where we took some time.
Yeah.
So now, after 2 years of producing this podcast, we have decided that in order to make this sustainable over the long term, we need to schedule seasons of episodes with breaks in between.
Yes.
And Season 3 will begin in August. And we'll be back with some new takes on ways to find a beautiful view in every situation.
So maybe take this opportunity to go back through our catalog of episodes and pick one that you haven't listened to yet. In this episode, we mentioned a couple of different ones.
Yes.
We mentioned Living with Quirky People, which was Season 1, Episode 4. That one's kind of fun.
That was fun, yeah.
And the Love and Marriage episode, Season 1, Episode 20. That has some really great
good advice
and things for your marriage.
Yep.
Or if you're looking for something completely different, it might be fun to listen to our kids' perspective of growing up on the road in our RV. That was Season 1, Episode 25.
Thank you once again for joining us today. We hope you have a great day, and remember to always keep an eye open for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view.
We will see you again soon. Have a beautiful summer.
Yes.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going to. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. Yeah, I'd go